Typically, price elasticities are not the same all along a demand curve. And one demand curve we'll often use is a linear demand curve, where price elasticities change from perfectly price inelastic to perfectly price elastic. We'll illustrate this here. Consider this linear demand curve with slope equal to -1/2. The midpoint of this demand curve occurs at point A, and it turns out that the midpoint of any linear demand curve always has a price elasticity equal to -1. To see this, suppose that price increases by 1%. It would then increase from 200 to 202. This would cause output to fall from 400 to 396, which is a 1% drop. Price elasticity is the percentage change in quantity for a 1% change in price, which in our case here is equal to -1. At point B, on the other hand, the price elasticity of demand is equal to -3. To see this, consider again a 1% increase in the price. That would take price from 300 to 303. This implies a drop in quantity from 200 to 194, which is a 3% change. Thus, the price elasticity, which is the percentage change in quantity from a 1% change in price, is equal to -3. At point C, the price elasticity of demand is equal to -1/3. A 1% increase in price would raise the price from 100 to 101. That would lower the quantity from 600 to 598, which is only a 1/3% decline in quantity. Thus, the price elasticity, which is equal to the percentage change of quantity from a 1% change in price, is -1/3. We can then see that as we move up the linear demand curve, the price elasticity increases in absolute value. By repeating this exercise again and again as you move closer and closer to the vertical axis, you can convince yourself that the price elasticity of demand approaches -infinity as we approach the vertical axis. As we move down the demand curve, the price elasticity becomes smaller and smaller in absolute value. And again, if you repeat this exercise as you approach the horizontal axis, you can convince yourself that this price elasticity eventually converges to 0. It should now be clear that although price elasticity of demand has something to do with the slopes of demand curves, it is far from the same thing as the slopes of the demand curves. Here we have a demand curve that has the same slope everywhere, but the price elasticity of demand ranges from 0 to -infinity.